Good morning. How are you today on this Tuesday? I am in a different spot. I thought I'd just mix things up a little bit, keep you on your toes. I'm in my dining room today. Do you like my painting behind me? Yeah. I love that painting. It's like one of the very first purchases I made for myself, and it's like one of my favorite things ever. Um, okay, anyway, so something that has come up for me personally and also in conversations with others as of late is related to how we express ourselves and how others receive what we say. So let me give you an example. Oftentimes we, out of kindness or out of care or compassion, we ask questions of people, or um, we express our opinions about something to someone else, solicited or unsolicited, and it comes out of our mouths in a way that we don't intend it to. What we also kind of like, you can become nose blind. You can also become, ear deaf to how you sound and how others receive what you're saying. So you could say something simple like, let me give an example, like, well, why would you do that? That seems so stupid. Okay, it's not a very nice thing to say, but if you said it in like a playful way, it won't be received as like a criticism. But if you say it like, why would you do that? That's stupid. It comes across completely differently. And so, maybe that's not the best example, but it gives you a general idea of what I'm talking about, where what we say and how we say it matters. It is received by the other person based on what they know. So if somebody has a wound from their childhood that relates to being like feeling abandoned or rejected, if you say anything that might feel like you're rejecting them or rejecting their ideas or rejecting something that they're saying, they're going to go right into that deeper wound that is bigger than the small interaction that you have. If somebody has an abandonment wound and you get into an argument and you walk away, they're going right into that pain of abandonment, and it's again much bigger than the situation at hand. So having an awareness around what we say, how we say it, we talked about responses versus reactions, how we respond to others makes a huge difference. It's a compassion to ourselves. It's a compassion to someone else. Kindness, it's respect. It's about being truthful. So if you have an awareness, so if you can recognize in those moments, just listen to yourself, or maybe even record yourself. I've done that in my life, where I was told I was coming off as being a little bossy or dismissive or the witchy with a B, and I didn't see it in myself. I didn't hear it. I didn't recognize it at all. So I started to record myself when I was talking and listen to my voice, listen to how I was responding, listen to the way I was engaging with the other person or people. And I recognized the fact that, wow, I really was coming off sounding not always is the way people portrayed it to, but oftentimes similar. And it brought an awareness to me that I could change that, I could shift that, I could approach it in a different way. Or even if it does come out not in the way you intended, you could have the best intentions at heart, and you could even rehearse it in your head and it sounds great, but somehow when it comes out, it doesn't come out the way you intended. But you hear it and you recognize it. Stop in that moment and say, whoa, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come out that way. This is what I meant to say. This was the intention behind my words. And I apologize for being hurtful or disrespectful or not understanding your point of view. Like, I think that's really essentially what it boils down to for all of us, is we just really want to be heard and understood and seen for who we are. And we want the other person to love us, care about us for the people that we are, not who they expect us to be. And that oftentimes is where that gap in between is where we tend to end up in conflict, or there's friction, is the way we are expressing ourselves, the way the other is receiving it may not be in alignment. There may be wounds that we both have that are causing pain and hurt to surface, and it's not about the small interaction. It's so much deeper than that. And if we can recognize that and dig into the wound, dig into that deep place, that place that's really hurt and really suffering still. It's like this underlying simmer. And when it gets heated up a little bit by something you say, or that wound gets poked by something that's said to you, it just bubbles up and bubbles up and bubbles up and bubbles up. And then there's a potential explosion and a huge conflict that doesn't need to be occurring, because it's really about the other person mirroring something within ourselves that needs attention. So, can you have a little bit of awareness around what you say and how you say it, how you're expressing yourself to other people and how it's being received by them? And if you say something that you feel was perfectly compassionate and kind, and it was not intended to be hurtful, but it somehow has really hurt the other person, can you put yourself in their shoes before you respond? Can you just take a second, a breath or two, to think about and feel into, okay, what did I say, and how did they receive it? Was there some aspect of what I said that could have touched on something within them that really could have hurt them? And if you know the person well, you will likely be able to come to an answer for that. And if you don't, just put yourself in that person's position and see that regardless of what your intention was, they received it in a way that was hurtful to them. And what can you do to soften it? What can you do to get to a place of peace within the relationship after that? And it feels so much better to be able to have an awareness around what we say, what we do, and to acknowledge when we mess up, because it's inevitable, we all do. And I think when we acknowledge it and we apologize and we say, I really didn't mean it like that, I'm really sorry, this is what I intended and this is what I meant to say, or this is how I meant for it to come out, that other person also feels honored and respected, and you can really develop an even deeper bond between the two of you in that way. So that's it for today. I hope that was helpful to you. Remember, we learn from one another, so if you'd like to share this with someone you think this might be helpful for them to hear or see, or if you have something you'd like to share with the community, we would love to hear from you. All right, I will see you tomorrow.